Hello student. Today I continue my lecture about the human osteology. The lower limb consists the cingulum membri inferioris and femur and crus and pes. Bones of the lower limb. The pelvic girdle is composed of the sacrum and the two hip bone. The hip bone, os coxa or pelvicum, is comprised of the ilium, the pubis, and ischium. This is ilium, pubis, ischium. The free lower limb, pars libera membri inferioris, this is Latin, it's composed of the thigh, os femur, os femur, the patella, this is patella, the tibia, and fibula, the tarsus, the metatarsus, the metatarsus, and phalanges of toes. Hip bone, os coxa. The ilium, you see, pubis, the ischium bone are connected in area of the acetabulum. This is three bones connected in area of acetabulum. Acetabulum is located on the external surface of the coxa. Acetabulum has limbus acetabuli, margo acetabularis, limbs acetabuli or margo acetabularis. Acetabula fossa acetabuli, acetabuli notch, incisura acetabularis, and lunate surface, fasces lunata. Acetabulum is hip joints socket. This is hip bone. Ilium bone or os ili. Body. This is os ili consists body and wing and body and wing. What you see? Body and wing or ala of the ilium. Body has iliac crest. Iliac crest include labium, external lip. This is labium externum. It is body ridge for attachment of the external abdominal obliqua. This is attachment muscles, external abdominal obliqua. Linea intermedia. What you see? Linea intermedia. Rough bony area between the external and between labium externum and labium externum and labium internum. Linea intermedia is rough bony area between the external and internal lips the iliac crest. Origin of the internal abdominal oblique muscles. Interlip, internal lip and labium internum is body ridge of the inner margin of the iliac crest for attachment of the transversus abdominis muscles, abdominal muscles. This is iliac crest. This is, you see, os iliae. Os iliae has sacropelvic surface. This is fascia sacropelvica. Has auriculus. You see auriculus surface. Fascia auricularis is a L-shaped surface which articulates with sacrum. This is os iliaca has tuberositas iliaca. You see auricular surface. This is tuberositas iliaca. Is roughened area behind and above the auricular surface. This is tuberositas iliaca. Is site where connect fibrous fiber. This fiber with sacrum, bone sacrum. Iliaca fossa. This is concavity forming the internal surface of the ala, of the ilium. This is, you see, iliaca fossa. This is auricum surface. This is tuberositas iliaca and iliaca fossa. Iliaca fossa, this you see, iliaca crista. This is iliaca body. External surface of the ala of the ilium. You see gluteal surface. This is fasces glutealis. This is, you see, this is acetabulum. Anterior gluteal line, linea glutealis in anterior, linea glutealis anterior, origin of the gluteus medius and minimus muscles. Posterior gluteal, значит, you see linea, linea glutea anterior. You see linea glutea, inferior, and linea glutea posterior. They line, this is site for muscles glutealis. The posterior linea glutealis posterior, linea glutealis posterior, this origin of the gluteus medius and maximus muscles. This is, you see, inferior, gluteal line. This is origin of the gluteus minimus and rectus femoris muscles. This is gluteus medius and maximus muscles. This is for linea is origin the muscles of glutealis. Minimus, maximus, and medius and rectus femoris muscles. Iliac crest is limited spinous, anterior anterior and posterior ends. Anterior superior iliac spine, это spina iliaca anterior superior, origin of the sartorius muscle. Anterior inferior iliac spine, or Latin spina iliaca anterior inferior, this is origin of the rectus femoris muscle. Posterior ends include posterior superior iliac spine, spina iliaca posterior superior, and posterior inferior iliac spine, это spina iliaca posterior inferior. This is iliac crest, has four spines. Next bone, os ischium. Os ischium forms the posterior and inferior boundary of the obturator foramen, that foramen obturatum. Ischium is composed of body or shaft and ramus. Значит, this is body and ramus. Body of the ischium, corpus ossis ischi, behind the obturator foramen. Ramus of ischium, ramus ossis ischi, the portion of the ischium situated below the obturator foramen obturatum. The anterior end unites with inferior ramus of the pubis. This is pubis bone. This is ischi at body and ramus, body and ramus. This is body has spina ischiadicum. Ischial tuberosity, what you see, tuber ischiadicum is ischial process at lower end of a lesser, what you see, lower, what you see, lesser sciatic notch, lesser sciatic. This is a large sciatic notch. Between lesser sciatic notch and large located spina ischiadicum. This is ilium ischiadicum. This is ischial tuberosity. This is ramus. Spina ischiadica is bone prominence between the greater and lesser sciatic notch. The greater sciatic notch, incisura ischiadica, is a large notch located between the posterior inferior iliac and spina ischiadica. The lesser sciatic notch, incisura ischiadica minor, notch located between the ischial spine and ischial tuberosity. This is greater sciatic notch. This is incisura ischiadica minor, located between spina iliaca inferior posterior and spine ischiadica. Lesser incisura ischiadica minor located between spina ischiadica and between ischial tuberosity. This is incisura ischiadica major, incisura ischiadica minor. Next bone, os pubis. Os pubis is composed of body and two ramus, superior ossis pubis and ramus inferior ossis pubis. Corpus ossis pubis is part of acetabularis. The branches os ischi, os pubis surround the foramen obturator. This is ischiadica, rami ischiadica, and this is rami pubis. Surround the foramen obturator. Next, the branches of pubic bone connects and forms two symphysial surface fasces, fasces symphysialis. Arcuate line of the ilium continues into pecten ossis pubis. Linea arcuata, arcuate, and pecten ossis pubis forms linea terminalis. The pecten ossis pubis, the with pubic tubercle, this is tuberculum pubicum. Between ossis is ilium and pubic located area which names eminentia iliopubica. This is border between os ilium and os pubicum. Linea terminalis, what you see, linea include linea arcuata, and pecten ossis pubis form terminal linea terminalis. Linea terminalis is the border between greta and lesser pelvis. Next, libera limb. You see tight bone, os femoris. What you see? Os femoris. Os femoris has a body named diaphysis and two ends. Epiphysis proximalis and epiphysis distalis. Epiphysis proximalis has head, caput femoris. Caput femoris has fovea capitis, femoris for ligament of ligament of acetabuli. This is caput femoris. And surround caput of femoris located column femoris. Column femoris. Column femoris. In base of column femoris located two structure. You see trochanter major and trochanter minor. Trochanter major is large prominence on the superlateral aspect of femur corpus, femur corpus, corpus femoris. Corpus femoris. Origin of the gluteus medius, gluteus minimus, and piriformis muscles. Origin for muscles. Lesser trochanter or trochanter minor is small prominence on the posteromedial aspect of the corpus femoris. Origin of the iliopsoas muscles. Muscles iliopsoas. Musculus iliopsoas. This is origin of iliopsoas muscles. This is proximal epiphysis proximalis. Between fossa trochanterica and trochanter minor is located intertrochanterica linea. Linea trochanterica is rough anterior the line between the shaft and neck of femur, extending from the greater to lesser trochanter. Intertrochanterica crista trochanterica is posterior bone ridge between the shaft and neck of the femur, running from greater to lesser greater, with greater to the lesser trochanter. This is, you see, trochanterica linea, linea trochanterica, and posteriorly crista trochanterica, linea and crista trochanterica. On the posterior side located linea aspera. Linea aspera, вот она, you see, linea aspera is double line in the posterior aspect of the femur for attachment of two vasty muscles and short head of the biceps. Insertion of the adductor, gluteus maximus and pectineus muscles. Linea aspera include of linea lateral lip of linea aspera and medial lip of linea aspera. This is, you see, linea aspera. Linea aspera in proximal end of femur double line, forms double line, linea pectinea and tuberositas glutea или gluteal, вот она, gluteal tuberositas. Linea pectinea is bone ridge extending downward from the lesser trochanter, nearly ridge of the linea aspera, gives attachment to the pectineus muscles. Gluteal tuberositas glutealis is rough oblong filed, continuous with linea aspera supralaterally. Insertion of gluteus maximus. This origin gluteus muscles. This is linea pectinea, origin of muscles pectineus. Linea aspera. Значит, линия пектинеа и tuberositas glutealis. Tuberositas glutealis. Next, so distal epiphysis distalis. Epiphysis distalis has two medial condyle. Вот он, condyle. Condylus medialis, condylus lateralis. They are separated by the separated fossa intercondylaris. Medial epicondylus is bony elevation on medial aspect of the medial condyle или condylus medialis. This is lateral epicondylus is or epicondylus lateralis is bony elevation on lateral aspect of the lateral condyle или condylus lateralis. This is epicondylus. Это condylus medialis, epicondylus medialis, condylus lateralis, epicondylus medialis. On the posterior surface of femur, you see condylus medialis, condylus lateralis, between locators fossa intercondylaris. Between linea of linea aspera, this is forms poplitea locators popliteal surface, или fasces poplitea, is triangular filed on the posterior aspect of the femur between the intercondylar line, and the diverging clips supracondylar line and linea aspera. Thus you see fasces poplitea located on the posterior surface of femur. This is fasces poplitea. What you see, fasces poplitea. Вот она, fasces poplitea. And on the anterior surface of femur located fasces patellaris. Is a surface that you see this is articula with that articula is with значит, this is esophagus that surface that has on the surface between, on the fasces patellaris, located patella. This is posterior located fasces popliteal. On the anterior surface located fasces patellaris. It is sites where located patella, the knee cap. Now, what you see natural bone, you see this is caput, neck, trochanter major, trochanter minor. You see body, this is epicondylus lateralis, epicondylus medialis, this is fasces patellaris, you see, this is condylus lateralis, condylus medialis. This is posterior fasces, you see linea aspera, this is condylus medialis, condylus lateralis, between intercondylarius, fossa intercondylaris, and you see linea aspera. This is linea pectinea, tuberositas glutealis. Next bone of crus, os tibia. You see os tibia and you see os fibula. This is two bone. Tibia has the body, diaphysis, and two ends, epiphysis proximalis and epiphysis distalis. Epiphysis proximalis has, epiphysis proximalis has a superior articular surface. You see what superior articular surface. Superior articular surface, fasces articulation superior. Вот она. Divides. Это this is medial condyli. Это medial. Это condylus medialis, and condylus lateralis. Condylus medialis and condylus lateralis has articular surface. It is a tibial articular surface of the knee joint. Medial condyli или condylus medialis, it is medial expansion of the proximal end. And tibia, lateral condyle, this is lateral expansion of the proximal end of the tibia. Articular facet, for the fibula, fasces articularis, fibularis. Articular surface for head of the fibula on the posterolateral aspect of the lateral condyla. This is lateral condyla, condylus lateralis, condylus medialis. Between condylus medialis, between condylus medialis and condylus lateralis, located two areas: anterior intercondylar area intercondylaris anterior and posterior intercondylaris. Sorry, this is anterior area intercondylaris is mistake, posterior. This is area intercondylaris posterior. It is area intercandilaris, intercandilaris anterior is area between knee joint surface of the tibia and in front of the intercondylar eminence. What you see, epicondylar eminence, eminence located between condylus medialis and condylus lateralis. And area intercandilaris posterior is region between knee joint surface of the tibia and behind of the intercondylar eminence. Intercondylar eminentia intercondylaris is body elevation between articular surface of the tibia for attachment of the cruciate ligaments and menisci. This is for attachment of the cruciate ligaments of menisci. What you see, eminentia intercondylaris, intercondylar eminence. This is proximal epiphysis of tibia. The body of tibia has three surface and three margin. You see, this is medial surface, medial surface, medial surface. This is posterior surface and lateral surface. And tibia has three margin. This is margo anterior, margo anterior, margo anterior, margo medialis, margo medialis, divide medial and lateral surface, and margo lateralis, margo lateralis, or margo interosseosus. Between fibula and tibia has located, this is interosseous space, interosseous space. This is fibula. And proximal epiphysis of tibia on the anterior surface located tuberositas of tuberositas tibialis. Tibialis, tuberositas tibia, what you see, is roughened area of the upper end of anterior margin of the tibia, attachment site of the patella ligament, или ligamentum patellaris. Soleal line, you see soleal line of tibia located on the posterior surface, is line extending obliquely from the upper lateral part of the tibia downward and across of the medial part, giving attachment to the soleus muscles, musculus soli, soleus muscles, origin of the soleus muscle. You see origin of the ligamentum patellaris. Epiphysis distalis of the tibia include two, this is medial malleolus medialis, has articular surface of malleolus or fasces malleolus, is the lateral surface of the medial malleolus facing the talus. and has fibula notch in caesura fibularis, is depression on the lateral surface of the distal end of tibia, articulates with the fibula. Articulates with the fibula. This is in caesura fibularis. Inferior articular surface, fasces articularis, is inferior joint surface facing the talus. Facing the talus. The talus. This is proximal end and distal end. Distal end has malleolus medialis and incisura fibularis and fasces articularis. Fasces articularis. Next, fibula seoperone. Fibula. You see fibula. Fibula has body and two end. This is proximal end, the distal end. Epiphysis proximalis, the proximal end, has head caput fibula, neck of fibula or column fibula. This is head of the fibula, has fasces articularis capitis, вот fasces articularis capitis fibularis. Вот она здесь. Articular surface facing the tibial or at the proximal end of the fibula. Head of fibula has apex and neck. Значит, this is proximal end, has caput, apex, neck, and articular surface. Tibialis. Body of fibula or corpus fibula has next fasces. Fasces lateralis, what fasces lateralis, fasces medialis, and fasces posterior, and fibula has three margo interosseous, margo anterior, здесь будет margo anterior, and margo posterior. Has three fasces and three margo. Patella or kneecap, which is embedded in quadriceps tendon. What patella has base is broad superior border of the patella. Apex patella, inferior pointed border of the patella, and fasces articularis, fascia articularis is cartilage covered articular surface of the patella facing the femur, and the fasces anterior surface of the patella. This is patella, is sesamoid bone, and located on the fasces patellaris on the distal end between between condylus medialis and condylus lateralis on the anterior surface. And next, bones of the foot or sapedis. Tarsus or the region of articulation extending from the heel to the metatarsus. What is this? You see tarsal bone. You see tarsal bone. Tarsal bone. Ossa tarsi is ossa tarsi is included the 7 bones of the ankle, including the talus. You see talus, calcaneus, cuboideum, and navicularis, and 3 bones, 3 cuneiformes bone. This is medial cuneiformes, intermedial cuneiformes, and lateral cuneiformes. This bone form 2 row. Proximal row includes talus calcaneus. Distal row include cuboid and medial cuneiformes, intermediate cuneiformes, and lateral cuneiformes. Between proximal and distal row locates bone navicula. Navicula. This is bone navicularis, navicula. Metatarsus is part of the foot situated between tarsus and toes. Is comprised 5 metatarsal bones. Metatarsal bones, ossa metatarsi, consist of base of metatarsal bone, basis metatarsalis. This is corpus metatarsalis and caput metatarsalis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 bones. This base, body, caput, head. No, you see this is talus, вот он, calcaneus, cuboideum, navicularis. This is cuneiformis. You see it medial, intermedial, lateralis. This is medial, Margot. This is lateral. Next, phalanges of toes. Phalanges and ossa digitorum. Ossa digitorum, pedis. What you see. Is the osseous segments or bones that comprise the tooth. This is proximal, include proximal phalanx. Это phalanx proximalis is first of proximal phalanx. Middle phalanx media is middle segment. Distal phalanx. This is phalanx distalis. The first phalanx has only 2 bones. Second, third, fifth. This is phalanges has 3 segments. First forms only 2 segments, proximal and distal. This is proximal in media, distal, and other. The proximal proximal, medius, media, distal. Second lecture finished. I finish. Now I begin next lecture. Astrosyndesmology, или Latin arthrosyndesmology. Next question. No, maybe finish lecture. I will continue my lecture 3, lecture arthrosyndesmology. Next week. Today lecture I finish. Goodbye, student.